What about the people? What about the U.S. citizens?
Democrats are giving illegal immigrants luxury apartments, while other residents are probably, with inflation, working two jobs. So Democrats, listen up, because this is what Republicans and Trump mean by Americans last. So pay attention. There's outrage over Democratic-run Maine town's luxury digs for migrants. Asylum seekers, which you should really say illegal aliens, live rent-free in palace apartments with balconies, while hundreds of U.S.-born homeless sleep rough. And check it out, not only are illegals getting fancy, brand new luxury apartments, they're also gonna have rent-free for 2 years.
Rent-free, luxury, with balconies. Let us get 2 years rent-free. That'll help a whole lot of people out. A lot of people will get ahead in life finally. Sound too good to be true though. We know that's not gonna happen.
Not a penny in rent for 2 full years. Now, Democrats might say, well, that's just us being nice. Well, I have never heard of Democrats giving U.S. citizens that are law-abiding citizens fancy, no rent for 2 years luxury apartments. God bless.
Our mayor giving out $53 million in prepaid credit cards to the migrants. $53 million? I thought we were broke. I thought that's why we raised the transit fare from $275 to $295. Or what is it? $290. Where did we get $53 million for to give these migrants? And before y'all say anything, I have immigrant parents. All right? I have immigrant parents. But my parents worked for everything they had now. They didn't have no help back then. My dad was 18 years old collecting bottles in the streets in high school to put clothes on his back, to feed my grandmother and his siblings. Now my dad owns 2 stores in Brooklyn, and my mom works as a supervisor for the city. Why are we just handing these people money? But the fact that it's like credit cards, we're setting them up to fail, one. Because how are they going to pay it back? They don't have no job and they don't have nowhere to go. They're saying that it's supposed to work like food stamps, but besides just being able to, buy food, they're also going to be able to buy like baby supplies, whatever the case may be. But where are these people going? Like, why do we keep accepting these people when we don't have nowhere to put them? Like, I'm so tired of seeing those goddamn mopeds all over the fucking city, bro. The crime rates has went up. Like, what is our mayor doing? Mr. Adam, hello, what are you doing? Because nobody's happy here. Not the Democrats or the Republicans. We all hate you, bro. $53 million. Where did you get $53 million from? I thought we were broke. Where's this money coming from? I'm very confused. There's literally people in New York right now that's living paycheck to paycheck. And y'all talking about we don't have help to give them. How are we helping these other people? Is it coming out of our tax dollars? Because that's what... Is it? Y'all fixing everything but what's supposed to be fixed. What about all the homeless moms in the shelter right now? What about all the homeless people in the street right now? That was
born here, right? My bad, I cut her off. Right, what about that? Where the $53 million that goes towards that? I feel like that should be first and most important. This been an issue. I don't even know how many years, but this been an issue.
Was born in New York. Why didn't you help them? And I don't know if y'all heard, but migrants don't have to show their ID once they cross over to the States. What? Who are these people? We don't even know if they're criminals. We don't know them. And we're having them sleep in the children's schools. Y'all making bunk beds and whatever for them. They could be literally, we don't know who they are. We have legit migrant children sleeping in the streets. It's winter time. There's no space in the hotels. There's no space in the schools. Y'all have them sleeping on buses. Bro, pack this shit up, bro. Pack this shit up. And I'm just so upset because where did $53 million come from? I thought we was in world debt. But every time y'all want to do some bullshit, apparently we got the money for it. I'm so tired of the government. Somebody take these boomers out because I am tired. Gen Z just need to take over the government. Gen Z, I think it's the only time where I would respect Gen Z, millennials, and Gen X to work together just to you know what I mean? Take over the government. Let's just ban boomers from being president or mayor, or they shouldn't even have a say because they're not even gonna be here too long. They're gonna pass away soon.
just the most depressed generations ever? It's because we are. But there's a real reason for that. Millennials and Gen Z are honestly the first two generations to see the bullshit for what it was. And not only that, we're the first two generations to actually speak out against the bullshit. Like me, for example. I'm a millennial. I'm a younger millennial. I was born in 1991, which essentially is just 6 years before Gen Z. We were the generation that were told by our Gen X and Boomer parents that if you go to college, get a degree, you graduate, you get a good job, that's all you gotta do, right? So we said, all right, cool. We went to college. We got our degrees and we started to graduate in the late 2000s and early 2010s. And those degrees didn't mean a damn thing. As a result, we looked at our Boomer and Gen X parents like, why the fuck did you lie to us like that? It's not their fault. They technically didn't lie to us because the reality of when they were growing up, yes, degrees actually mattered. In fact, a lot of our parents got turned down for jobs because they didn't have degrees. They just didn't know that the world would change right as they were telling us that. Bro, we are really the transitional guinea pig generation. Like when I was born, VHS and cassette tapes were popular. But when I graduated college, we had already started to transition into fully digital media libraries. Literally everything ended and began with my generation. Millennials grew up with so many promises that we all thought we were going to be straight if we just followed the formula. That was never the case, bro. So now, here we are in our early 30s, mid 30s, late, some of us even in our early 40s now, still don't own homes, still in apartments, still kind of just winging it in life. And it's even crazier is the fact that the government still sees millennials as children, not realizing that the oldest millennial is in their fucking 40s, bro. We're depressed because we're in a stagnant state. You know what I'm saying? We have not been able to grow. Most millennials' lives honestly have not changed over the last 10 years. You might make a little more money than you did back in 2014, but your living circumstances and all that kind of shit, most likely, it ain't really changed much. Still live in an apartment. You either got the credit score for a house, but you don't got the income, or you got the income, but you don't got the credit. And then with the interest rates being so crazy, it's honestly cheaper to rent a house than it is to buy one. Not to mention that millennials and Gen Z are the generations that just been bombarded with information for our entire lives. Like, yes, awareness is good, but listen, man, too much of anything is a bad thing, and too much awareness definitely takes a toll on your mental health, man. Like everyday war, genocide, famine, gas prices, interest rates, job market. We know too much is overwhelming. Everything's expensive now. When I was in college, I used to go to McDonald's and get a McDouble, a McChicken, a large fry, and a sweet tea for $5.35. I put that same meal in my McDonald's app cart the other day. That motherfucker was $12. And our parents had the audacity to ask us, did we have McDonald's money back in the day? Motherfucker, you mean $4? So yeah, man, if it seems like millennials and Gen Z are just the most depressed and cynical ass generations, it's because we are, for a lot of valid ass reasons. None of us know what the hell going on. We just out here winging it, man.
On the economy as a small business owner. Here's why I'm worried. I own a coffee shop with a friend. We've been in business together 11 years. At the height of it, before COVID, we had 3 coffee shops. Now we lost 2 of those during COVID, but we came out of it okay with our flagship store that's been in business for 11 years, and our company's debt-free. And I'll say this, I'm more worried about business now than ever, because I've seen my sales continue to increase year over year for the last 11 years straight. I have less debt as a company than I've ever had. It's still mostly owner operated. But because of the cost of products and the inflation in taxes and the inflation in banking fees and the inflation in payroll, my profits are shrinking as my sales increase. And my employees are strained because they need to make more money to pay for everyday things, and I can't afford to give them a raise. I also can't afford to raise prices because the consumer is tapped out and my prices are already higher than they should be because of all these things. So as it gets worse and worse, my sales are increasing, my profits are doing this. The reason I'm so concerned is because I truly believe the consumer is tapped out. And soon those sales numbers are going to start to plummet. And as those sales numbers start to plummet, it's going to be game over for every small business in America. I'm already seeing it happen all over town where I'm operating. I'm seeing restaurant after restaurant after restaurant close their doors. I've seen 3 in the last month that have been in business just as long as I have throw it in and say we can't do this anymore. So my perspective is from that of a small business, and I'm telling you, it's my opinion that this economy is in grave danger and that we are on borrowed time. That's just my personal opinion. Do with that what you
Seeing the TikTok about the illegal immigrants from Venezuela got over $13,000 in food stamps and $5,000 in welfare cash, EBT. Not EBT, not cash, EBT, but cash money. Child, meanwhile, I'm over here in the United States of America, born and raised, fighting for my food stamps, and can't get TANF. Meanwhile, the people that's here need the help, can't really get the help, need assistance, and y'all giving us y'all ass kids.
Right.
Make that shit make sense. Now, the people probably need help or whatever, but I don't know the situation, but damn, how the fuck you get 13 bands and food stamps and 5,000 and cash assistance? How many children you got? Something just ain't right. But here I am, gotta give you my whole life, my whole rundown, the whole family history, just for a couple $100 in food stamps. And even then, still don't get them, still gotta reapply, reject this, do it again, reject that, do it again. What? They gotta have about 30 children on that bitch, gotta be.
Of why people are actually in my comments begging for an economic collapse to happen.
If I had to put my finger on it, I would say it's because the economy has already collapsed for about half of the country. These are the people that are working harder than they've ever worked, making more dollars than they've ever made, and going backward faster than they've ever gone before. This is if they have a job, assuming. Or it's not a matter of, like, do they have a job? It's how many jobs do they have? Because in a lot of cases, people have 5, 6 jobs that they're trying to do, and they're trying to juggle everything. Oh, and a whole bunch, and they're all a bunch of side hustles. At a certain point, people get really, really sick and tired of that shit, and right now, a whole bunch of the country is finally starting to say, hold on, this is all the fault of a worthless goddamn dollar that's been printed to complete dog shit level currency. And it is. This is why they have a whole bunch of fucking illegals come into the country to try and prop that shit up, and they're all being subsidized. Of course, the American people aren't being subsidized at all. In fact, what they get is inflation and eviction notices. And on top of that, as far as real estate's concerned, let's talk about that. You've got a whole nation of people, a whole bunch of real estate bros trying to tell everybody to leverage themselves to the gills to buy $400,000 houses to rent them out to make $300 a month in fucking cash flow. Are you serious? That's the stupidest goddamn thing I've ever heard. Why would you take on that much risk for $300 a month? You'd be better off doing anything else than that. Yet they still do it. And all this does is keep propping up this ridiculous economy that doesn't actually work anymore. And people are seeing it. So when you see people saying we want an economic collapse, what they're saying is, dude, this isn't working for us. That may be great that it's working for a handful of fucking boomers that already made all their money and got bailed out in 2008. People are getting sick of it because those of us that didn't get bailed out in 2008, we get to pay for all this, right? So that tends to make people really angry. In 2008, had this all been allowed to collapse and there was no bailouts, right, then this wouldn't be happening right now. Housing prices would have collapsed then, right along with all kinds of companies that should have got out of business long time ago. You have companies now that can't afford to actually keep people employed anymore. So they're making up every excuse in the world. This is where you get these performance reviews, where you bring the employee in and give them a fake review so that you have an excuse to not give them a raise or a promotion, looking for anything that they could have done wrong. This ridiculous level of standards that nobody can actually live up to. And companies are doing this kind of stuff. So more and more people see this, and more people that are in the working class are really starting to actually get very pissed off about it. And as far as truck drivers, speaking as a truck driver, one who does all that job, no, I'll still roll, but I just won't roll for dollars, right? Fuck the dollar. It's a dead currency. In fact, people should be stopping paying taxes right now because clearly they can print as much as they want anytime they feel like it. So why wouldn't they want an economic collapse? For many people, actually, a complete and total collapse of the system means a shuffling of the deck, and it actually means there's a good chance they could actually be back on that they could be on the top of the stack just because, I don't know, maybe they're competent. When you have a destruction of competency, which is what we've seen right now in this country, the competent people check out and say, dude, this is stupid. Why the hell am I going to work my ass off to not get ahead? That's what you're seeing. I did a whole video on that very topic. So if you're wondering why it is that people want an economic collapse, they should. It's long overdue. This is a stupid economy. It's fake. None of this should exist any longer. Politically speaking, look at what's going on with this. Nobody wants any of these people. None of them are any good. Nobody wants to vote for any of these fucking people any longer. Why would they? They're a bunch of checked out goddamn boomers. And the ones that aren't boomers, all they're doing is spending their time in Congress or in the halls of Congress just trying to make money and launder it through Ukraine. and to continue genocide all over the world. So, like, why wouldn't they want to collapse? No, the fact is the dollar is the single biggest problem that we have. And it's the one thing that unites all of us in the disaster in which we all currently find ourselves. If that goes away, then that means another currency can come in that's hard asset based or just straight hard assets altogether, and we can find actual values. And the fact is, the people that are on the bottom of all this, that are doing all the goddamn work in this country, they're the ones who finally get to make all the money back, because they're the ones that are the competent ones. And so when they start charging whatever real money to be paid to do all the shit work that nobody else wants to do, those people get to be successful this time, and not a bunch of fucking boomers, and a bunch of people doing Zoom meetings all goddamn day, pretending to work.
Feel that milestones like affording a home, starting a family, excelling within the corporate structure are out of reach. But listen, every generation comes and wants to do better than their parents did. But I'm sorry, if you only want to work 4 hours, it's going to be harder for you to get a house. I feel for everybody that feels this, but I'm sorry. We busted our behinds. We had to bust our behinds because we didn't have the option of going back.
Y'all gave us the housing crisis, though.
But listen, we had all kinds of stuff.
No, it's true. But the one thing I'd say is millennials are statistically the first generation that's likely to do worse off than their parents.
You know what? That's what they said to us as well. Every generation is told you're going to do worse than your parents. And you know what? People pick it up and they do what they do, and they raise themselves. And this is what you got to do. It's called being a good citizen.
You know, I'm so tired of boomers pushing this narrative like y'all are not the ones who handed us this messed up economy. Y'all make it seem like we don't want to buy houses while negating the fact that y'all are the ones selling us the houses, and y'all are selling the houses for 3 or 4 times the price that you even purchased it for. Y'all try to make it seem like we don't want to work while negating the fact that y'all are the ones holding up the positions that we're trying to get to, and your old ass won't retire. And then while holding these comfortable positions where I might add y'all make all the money but don't do any other work, you pass all the work down to us, but you don't pay us for any other work that you pass to us, so we can purchase the house that you're trying to sell us for 4 times the price that you purchased it for. We're not even gonna talk about college. Most of y'all strong arm y'all kids into going to college while y'all sat back and allowed them to push college tuition up to 10 times the price that it was when you was in school. So whereas when you was in school, college was $3,000 a year, now when we in school, college is $30,000 a year. By the time you do get out of school, any real money that you could have potentially made, which a lot of times nowadays is not the money that you should be making in your profession, goes back to student loans. Overall, I just want boomers to understand that the reason why y'all was able to succeed is because somebody somewhere at some point gave you a chance. And instead of gaslighting us and exacerbating the problem, it would be nice if for once y'all just gave us
off, man. This is going to be big, bro.
Chances are you're probably going to get fired and my cousins are going to get hired. Let me explain. A lot of big corporations in America are no longer hiring American people for American jobs. Instead, they are outsourcing them to countries like India, Pakistan, Philippines, Poland, because it is a lot cheaper to hire people from there. Now, before we start to get mad about people from other countries taking our job, let's come to terms with this very important fact that's honestly causing the downturn of America. And that is our hyper-individualistic and hyper-capitalistic culture that is honestly not seen in other countries.
Yeah, exactly. And I just want to comment on this, right? Did you know there's actually a database called onlinejobs.ph that you could hire a VA and outsource all of your, like you can have them do whatever you want them to do for real. It's people that got them paying their credit card bills. You can have them do whatever you want. I know a guy, he put down 100 different tasks that he don't want to do himself. He'll have them do it for him. So I'm saying that to say, right, in other countries, you don't have no database, onlinejobs.america, to where they can hire us. And in other countries, you have to have a visa to come in. They're not just letting in immigrants at the borders. And if you do come in, they're not going to hire you. They're going to hire their people. It's very hard to get a job unless you're teaching them English. You have to have some type of online business. You have to make some money online. You have to have a pension, 401k, some type of government check that's coming in. You basically got to provide for yourself. They're not going to help you out there. But this country, they give them money, resources, housing, food, everything. They act like they don't have a budget for us as the people, us as citizens. There's no budget for that. But all of a sudden, out of nowhere, they got this crazy budget for all of these migrants that's coming into the country. And we're going to get into this later, man, because I do avid research on this. And we're going to have a couple people talk about it for the people that's not aware of what's going on. Let's let her continue.
Typically, other countries are very community-based, Whereas people live together, they know each other, they know of their families, you know, they actually really care about each other. And when there comes a time of crisis, they reach out and they step in to help you. However, in America, and especially American corporate culture, there is not a culture of people helping each other. Your biggest competitor is not another customer or another client or another business taking your job. It's your coworker. No one is preying on your downfall more than your coworker in a corporate America job, because corporate culture is set up and designed to have us everyday people fight with each other over scraps of paper. Meanwhile, the execs and the CEOs are getting paid top dollar, and they are continuing to make more and more money, leading to them having this crazy wealth gap that we now see between the ordinary people versus the high level exec people. And I think the only way we can really fix that is to really reshape the way we work and make it more community based and more holistic based, so that we can all just like get along together. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk.
Inside Chicago. On some real shit, I think they need to go on back where they at, Joe. We ain't got enough room for them right now.
And where should they go?
Shit, somewhere where's room for them at. Even if it's back to where they at or another little city. But Chicago too packed, man. We already got a lot going on.
What do you think about them giving them free hotels, free phones?
That's what I'm saying. They treating them better than real residents. Like that.
And they get a free phone? Yeah, for sure.
They giving them shit that they ain't give us. And we born and raised in Chicago. They come here giving them $15,000 in their name, a GN Link, all type of shit. I'm damn. But you got homeless people sleeping on the street. You know, they fucked up, but y'all bringing people in, treating them better than motherfuckers who from Chicago. I don't like that, though.
What's your direct message to Mayor Johnson, then?
Man, fix this. Get this shit together, bro. Help the city. Don't just be all talk. You talk that talk to get in there, live it. Stand on business.
You gotta stand on business.
Yeah.
As a millennial, why boomers are so mad at us and why they think we don't work is because boomers had to endure things, and millennials and Gen Z realize that we don't have to endure things. There is a movement going on right now on TikTok where people are being very open about the fact that they don't like being a parent. They don't like being homeowners, that marriage isn't worth it, and that corporate America is a joke. All the things that boomers have been literally conditioned and primed to aspire to. The 9-to-5 job, the house with the picket fence, the marriage and the kids, all those things that they literally base their entire life around. All of those things, we are literally looking at those things and saying, nah, I'd rather just have a plant. I'd rather have a dog. I'd rather live in a high-rise building. I'd rather work in a cafe. I'd rather do those things. I'd rather become an influencer. I'd rather do anything than all the things that you told me that I should be doing. Because those things require a certain level of endurance and capacity that I, as a millennial and as a Gen Z, do not have. And the thing is, when I'm talking about enduring, I'm not just talking about enduring the marriage, the home ownership, the children, all of those things. Like, those are things that, yes, are beautiful things, but they have some certain level of endurance. I'm talking about the literal corporate sprint that you have to get through just to obtain those things. There was an article that was just dropped, okay, where they were talking about the 5 most expensive states to live in. And guess where the fuck I live at? New York City, okay? I live in one of the most expensive cities in the world, all right? If I wanted to have a family, me, my man, a house, 2 kids, I need to at least be making $267,000 a year to live comfortably. And let's not talk about what kind of a fucking mess the job market is. So yeah, millennials, we're realizing that we don't have the capacity to endure because we're enduring things that are literally out of our control. Things that no matter how much water we put on the fire, shit is still gonna burn. We get a job, now there's crummy health insurance. There's no pension, there's now a 401k, but mind you, the job basically pays nothing, so you can't even pay into that. Then they're saying that we don't have enough children, there's not enough children. But what they fail to realize is boomers back in the day had this thing called community. We don't have that now. A lot of millennial parents or millennial grandparents, meaning the parents of millennials, don't want to be grandparents. They don't want to support their kids. They don't want to help them raise their kids. So the cost of living is higher. We don't have any sense of community when it comes to like having children. We're realizing that men are using weaponized incompetence when it comes to marriage. The corporate ladder, don't even get me started about that. So then instead of boomers trying to look at things from our perspective, they just see us as a generation that spit in the face of everything that they aspired to have. But the thing is, back in the day, you can make $11,000 and buy a house. Right now, the median income for an average household that's not under the poverty line is $75,000. And the average cost of a house is $400,000. The math is not mathing. The endurance that millennials are having to put in order to survive is significantly different than what boomers have to go through. And yet, instead of taking a step back and listening to what we have to say, they decide to call us lazy, ungrateful, don't want to work. Instead of looking at, I would love to put a boomer in a millennial situation. Go to college, get your degree, take out student loans. Go to college, get your degree, but you'll have to pay through student loans, okay? After that, hope that you get a job, but you're starting life off with debt, okay? So that house that you want, technically you bought that house because that's what paid for your college degree. That loan that you took out, that would have been your mortgage that you took out, your college degree equals up to a mortgage. So try to figure that out. And then on top of that, pay that back with a job that doesn't give you a pension, but a 401k. You're making just enough to get by. Oh, but you can't live on your own. You have to have a roommate. Mind you, your parents are pressuring you to meet somebody and get married. Put them in our situation and watch how fast they fold. That's all I have to say. But I'm realizing they're looking at us and we're looking at the dream that they have aspired to. And we're like, yeah, no. And they're taking us not wanting to engage in that as us being lazy. When it's like there's a different barrier of entry for us. We are enduring.
I'm 20 years old. Why is a one-bedroom apartment $600, $1,600? Like, oh my God, for 500 square foot.
One at a time, I said. Yep.
Rent prices is outrageous. And then these jobs, they're bare minimum jobs. Like, I'm supposed to be in customer service. Before I was a server, I was working at like fast food restaurants, and nothing against them, love it, but we need them jobs. But why are you yelling at me over a burger? So it's one of those type of things. It's like the work life, trying to balance out school, trying to balance out finding housing. It's just overhyped. Like, I really waited my whole life to grow up and do this.